The as I said, the Beatles were always so groundbreaking with different things, and they would do all these pop songs, and then every once in a while they'd throw in one that was like, wow, that's different. And whether it was like in their first album, and they're all of a sudden they do Money, and John Lennon is screaming like a banshee, and it was like, wow. And there was a song that they did. I've never actually fully played it because it's actually pretty hard to play and sing it at the same time. So I've never really done it. But ironically, that I'll tell you in a moment. Let me just do what the song is. It goes like a. Oh wait. For taking the easy way out. Got a good reason for taking the easy way out. She was a day tripper, one-way ticket, yeah. It took me so long to find out. I found out. Okay, so I'm going to end that there. It's hard for me to actually sing and play that one because it's almost doing like the bass run, which Paul McCartney always blew me away. He was so underrated on his ability to play something and sing something completely different from what he's actually playing on the bass. It's not like a guitarist who plays chords. So I was always taken by that. But the other thing is, again, so they do like the got a good reason, taking the easy way out. Got a good reason, taking. And here comes that F sharp again. Was a day tripper, and then all of a sudden they do all this other stuff. Listen to the chords that are going to come here. It takes me so long to find out. I found out. So they've gone from an F sharp, they go up to an A, to a G sharp, to a C sharp, to a B. She's a big G. Anyways, you know what? Years later, I don't play that song, as I said. It's a little bit complicated to play and sing it. But the name Daytripper, of course, has impacted me for a long, long time in my life. In the early 90s, I'm going to say about 1992, 93, we were introduced to a concept called email. We never had that before, but it hit Calgary in about, I'm thinking about 92 or 93, because we moved to Calgary in 91, and within a year or two, this startup company, which eventually became, I think they're the ones who became Shaw, but they started as a company called CAD Vision, and we had like 56K, I think it was 56K internet service, like a dial-in service on your phone, and that was it. And it was so slow, but hey, we were pioneers, and it was freaking cool. Anyway, so we were given this email address, and I said, well, what do you do with that? And they said, well, you can connect with people without writing them a letter. It's like you're writing them a letter on your computer, and so you'll get a faster answer. I thought that was cool. Well, I grabbed the handle Daytripper at shaw.ca. I have had that same email address since whatever that was, 1992, 93, because I went from Daytripper at cadvision.ca or .com, whatever it was, and transferred it over to when they became Shaw. And I've held on to that ever since. And for me at the time, Daytripper, all that meant was it was a Beatles song. I never really correlated it to the concept of day tripping, like a traveler. And in later years, when my wife and I would go on these European trips, so we realized that we were, okay, she'd say, well, we'll do a day trip here, and we'll do a day trip there, we'll do a day trip there, and it's like, oh, that's cool, yeah, Daytripper. And a few years later, we got back into like, or she got back into motorcycling, I got into motorcycling, and I thoroughly enjoyed it. We would do these day trips. There you go. And so it's okay, we'll do a day trip here and a day trip there. And you know what? Daytripper has been with me through all of those years. So anyways, that's my little story on that. I have to get back to the earlier days with them. And I think I'm going to finish this because I said I wasn't going to go there, but this is like 26 minutes that we're at. So you'll never know how much I really love you. You'll never know how much I really care. Listen, do you want to know a secret? Do you promise not to tell? Oh, closer, let me whisper in your ear. Say the words you long to hear. I'm in love with you. Sorry for that screw up, but you know, like the amount of chords in this song. I think this was actually written by them. I'm not too sure, but I think it was. But you know, when you think it goes like F minor, listen, you never know how to da-da-da. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. Wow. What a blend of chords. Like, it's nothing. Like, you know, all the doo-wop songs, all the rock and roll songs, Elvis Presley songs, Del Shannon, Jerry Lee Lewis, everything was like 3 and 4 chords. And here's these guys with an F minor and a B flat minor, F minor, to an A flat, to a G flat, C. And then they go F, A minor, flat, G minor, C, da da. This is like beautiful. And then they go one more lower. Like, you know, it's that almost sounded like Hawaiian guitar. I don't know where they got their influences from. I'm blown away. I'm going to leave it at that for tonight. I hope you enjoyed. This is a little bit of me reliving some of the Beatles stuff, and I got a whole bunch more to do. If you liked it, give me some feedback. If it's like, just give it a break, I'll stop doing it. But hope you enjoyed it. Good night. Okay, one last thing. Sorry, I said good night, but I just don't want to forget this. I started by saying that what blew me away was when they would throw in some stuff that caught me off guard, and they did that so often. One of the things that they brought in, you know, like when anybody would say out there the word feedback, you know, like on a guitarist when he gets feedback off his amplifier, the first thing that comes to mind is Jimi Hendrix. But I got to tell you something. The absolutely ever first recorded feedback, like done on purpose, was at the beginning of I Feel Fine, where George actually hits the guitar and uses his thumbnail, and he lets his thumbnail just touch the string, so it kind of vibrates and gives this buzz sound, and it goes. Anyways, my point is, these guys were just so innovative. Think of back in the USSR when all of a sudden, and actually people think it was George Harrison. It was not. It was Paul McCartney did the solo on that. And that part at the very, very, where he does the solo, like he's just almost like a mandolin player. He's really super fast plucking with a pickup, with a pick, the string at the beginning of the solo for back in the USSR. Like, there's all these little things that they did through the years that just blow me away. Anyways, now I'm going to say goodnight. Okay, so I thought I was going to say goodnight, but I'm sorry. This is perpetuating, but I'm just talking about the innovations they had. If you go to I can't remember which album it was on, but there's the song "If You Wear Red Tonight, Remember What I Said Tonight." I think it was maybe on Revolver. Anyways, that whole song is done with a guitar this is before they came out with a volume pedal. They didn't have a volume pedal back then, like what all the bands use now and have used since the 80s, 70s. But back in the 60s, that didn't exist. And I can tell you, you can look this up because I've already read up on it from people who were in the studios with the Beatles and have written books. I've read so many books on the Beatles. For doing that song, if you go, it's called "For Red Is the Color That My Baby Won, and What's More, It's True, Yes, It's True." I think it's just "Red Is the Color" is the name of the song. Anyways, while George Harrison played the guitar, John Lennon stood or sat beside him and would turn the volume knob on the guitar up and down while George played. That is freaking incredible. 2 players on one guitar. It's kind of like Got Ye's song there. Someone I used to know, and they got 4 people on the guitar. That's just an aside. All I'm saying is that, sorry, I digressed. The innovations that the Beatles did, that they said, hey, let's do something where we fade the guitar in and out, and in and out, and in. Mama's got a squeeze box she wears on her chest. Yeah, in and out, goes in and out. Okay, enough. I'm saying goodnight. I'll get back to the Beatles tomorrow, I guess.